All right, everyone, welcome back to Healing Hearts. Today I have Desiree. So excited to have her on board. Thank you so much for coming, by the way.
Thank you for
from
inviting
such a far
me.
distance. Oh, well, you're kind of close, but it's okay. But still making the time and the effort to be here with me.
Yes.
I really appreciate you and wanting to share your story on this beautiful platform.
Yes,
So thank you.
and thank you for the invitation.
Yes, of course. So how did I meet Des? So basically we used to work together and we built ourselves to who we are today. So I appreciate her for sharing her story coming up soon, basically.
Yes.
Yes. So let's just jump into it. So just tell us, where were you born? What's your life? I know you have so much to tell, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like so many
It's
obstacles, but at the same
right.
time, you're amazing here
Thank
today.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually born in a military family in Germany and raised, very military for the first, I would say, like 12 years of my life. And then my parents decided to settle down in Barstow, California.
All the way from Germany to Boston, huh?
Yeah. It's like, why? Like, we had been some really amazing places up until then, but my mom also grew up military and just wanted to be able to give us some roots, So for her, it was important to have a rooted place that we could, feel that we belong to and were a part of. And so she chose Barstow, which was close to the last military base that they had been stationed at.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So how was it being part of a military family? I know sometimes it can be crazy.
I think it definitely shaped me into who I am today. Having the experiences of living in so many different areas, I think really made, how can I say, I have such a love for different cultures and for learning about different people, I think because of that, right? So it was really understanding that every time you go someplace different, things are going to be quite different, but there's also going to be a lot of similarities, right? In terms of the intrinsic similarities, we all want love and respect and to feel a part of something, right? And there's beautiful parts of every culture, so I was really able to kind of take part in that. And even when we became stationary in Barstow, I feel like that really continued, particularly because we were still around a lot of military people. So there's all walks of life in the military, but even though there's all walks of life, you're very unified. Like everybody feels like they're a part of the same team, they're working towards the same goal. And that really shaped me and my thinking for the long term, right? Just always kind of trying to unify people and fight for justice and, those type of things. So my parents were very militant and authoritative, growing up. And honestly, I think that also helped, because it definitely developed a love for discipline very early on in my life, that now I always say discipline is love, right? I think it's very easy for people to often look at acceptance as love, and not that it isn't, right? I definitely think that acceptance is a big part of love, but I think that discipline is perhaps even a bigger part of love, right? Because you're defining what needs to be and what can't be,
Right.
And so that, I would say sums up growing up in that military environment.
Yeah, I'm sure at times as even being a teenager, it's why are you so strict with me? Why are you so...
Yes.
But then using that now, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah. Funny you say that, because my dad and I, both of my parents, but especially my dad, loves to always go back to this one time when I was in college. I had this roommate that, she was great, but definitely grew up very different from me. And there was this moment where, kind of going back, when I was a child, I would always chastise my parents that they only had children because they wanted to make us slaves.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because we had chores very early on, and I didn't really see my parents doing much of the household cleaning
Yeah.
outside of, cooking, doing the laundry, and my dad like doing the yard work, right? Outside of that, my brother and I were responsible for cleaning basically everything in the house. We divvied up our chores and I was very clumsy. So my parents always, they said that I would break things in spite. And I'm like, I'm not actually breaking it in spite. I'm just really clumsy. But my retort was that you guys only chose to have kids so that you can make us slaves and make us do everything, right? Now, fast forward in college, I had a girlfriend that, again, we were living together. Going into Thanksgiving break, which is a week long, she lived up north. She cooked a very big meal for her and her partner and didn't even rinse a dish. Like everything was just completely left as it was, right?
Yeah.
And I was furious. I was like, well, why would you do this? Like now I have to figure out something to do. Otherwise, we're both going to end up with the consequence of possibly getting roaches or ants, right, in our kitchen. So I put everything in a box and I put it in a room.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, and I called my dad and I was like, thank you so much for teaching me chores. I was like, and my dad's like, what? And I was like, because you guys taught me how to do chores young, now I have this standard of cleanliness, this standard of living that I can live by, right? That discipline that perhaps she didn't get growing up. And so for her, she didn't think because she actually found a great offense in me putting it in her room. She was like, well, why'd you put it in there? I could have got roaches. And I'm like, well, what did you think was going to happen in the common area?
Exactly.
It's the same concept, So, so it was really interesting, but things like that, tend to come full circle, right? Where you're like, that's why, so.
Exactly. I know, even same thing with my home here. I'm always like, if I get a roommate and I have to give them house rules, I'm like, you better clean up after yourself. There better not be bugs in your room.
Right.
You take care of them. And I keep my house clean, get pest control, everything done. So if I'm doing that, I expect same thing from you, right?
Exactly.
That's more of being clean is very important because people can get sick, bacteria can arise, diseases can arise. So we got to stay clean, guys.
Yeah.
But no, but that was a factor of being strict. So so you're like, okay, now I understand where you came from.
Yeah, my dad, there was this one time I was cleaning the table and he got down and looked at it from the side and he was like, it's not clean enough. And that always stuck with me. And I was like, I'm not in the military, this isn't white glove service. I don't have to do it like you want. Yeah. Right. But it really did teach me a lot. And so now as a parent, I do the same thing with my son, and my son's like, it's okay. And I'm like, I'm not going to explain it to you because you're not going to understand now. But trust me, you will thank me
later on. Yeah, exactly. So that's really nice. So your childhood I know we did kind of brief into your childhood, as far as where you were born and stuff, but you did kind of mention in your pre-interview when you were talking to me that some other things arise when you were younger. So I don't know if you'd mind talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually molested twice as a child, and the first situation was, unfortunately, one of the first core memories that I have. My parents, both being in the military, had me with a sitter all day, and she would watch me and, do things with me during the day. And then in the afternoon, once her son came home from high school, she would take her nap, and her son would watch my brother and I. And he took it upon himself to, molest me and kiss me and different things like that. And
at such a young age.
Yeah. And, that. And then the second time was, it was a couple that my parents were very close with. They were great people. They had 2 kids that were my brother and I's age. They decided to take in a wayward nephew, as I like to call it, and he he would babysit us while our parents would all go out together and, enjoy an evening of pool or whatever they were doing. And same thing, we would play hide and seek, and he would come to where I was and try to fondle me and different things like that. And it really kind of played with my mind because I physiologically, it felt good. And so I didn't understand why it felt good. And so, of course, I put a lot of shame to that and thought like, oh, I'm dirty. I like that. I wanted it. Maybe I invited that.
You were so young, you didn't
Right.
understand.
Right. And so it took, it took quite a long time and the right therapist to help me work through that and to understand that physiologically, like it's supposed to feel good in that area. It just wasn't supposed to happen to you at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that unfortunately did shape, a lot of choices and decisions that I made later in life, where, I compromised myself a lot, trying to appease like my partner or trying to find a partner, and different things like that. And yeah, that was like a big, part of why I'm like so fiery in my personality and why I fight for justice so hard because like I created that like part of me, as a result of going through that trauma.
And I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Thank you.
That is hard. Like, and being at that age, you don't know any better.
Right.
And for others to take advantage of those situations
Yeah.
is, and it's not to say that that could still happen to us till today.
Absolutely.
And like, it's just very disrespectful that people actually go to that level. But we have to like internally really realize what's important to us and how to be valued and respected and keep that boundary.
Yes.
So yes, I can definitely say that you are definitely a warrior in this situation.
Thank
And that's
you.
why you are where you are. And I love that energy of you.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So kind of going into the aspect, you were kind of talking about you were born in Germany and that you also kind of talked about in the interview that you had kind of like two ethnicities that you kind of grew up with. So how did that play part into your life?
Oh, that was interesting. So I'm German and Black, and obviously, I think it's pretty easy to tell that I am mixed with something, but obviously I present a little bit more on the white side, and so I think for a lot of my childhood, my youth, I always dealt with that. It was almost like an imposter syndrome, right? I felt like I was never white enough for the white side, never Black enough for the Black side. People were always asking me what my ethnicity was as a child, and people would always try to frame it like, oh, they're asking you because you're pretty or this, that, and the other. And I always took it as like disrespect, right? Like you're not asking my brother, you're not asking, someone who presents Black, right? You don't ask people that present white, right? But you're asking me. And so I took a lot of offense to that.
Because you had to like choose sides or something,
Yeah.
right? Oh.
Yeah. And, it's hard, like, especially in a time like this, right? Where I think there's, again, unfortunately, so much division in our world, and people are just like very divided and very much like you have to pick a side. And it's like, what you don't understand is that, the unity is where the beauty is, right? And that's where the success, that's where the win really is when we can unify and focus on a common goal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. That's so true. But going through that basis, like, how did you overcome that? How did you be like, this is what I am, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to be type of thing. So how did you get to that?
Ooh, how did I get there?
Yeah, because you are amazing right now. So
thank you.
Yes.
I think for me, having a strong mom definitely modeled for me that, you can be outspoken, you can be that strong person that speaks up and says what it is, and so that's like the approach that I always took, that I kind of would turn things on their head when people would try to question me. I would come at them very aggressively and very strong to let them know, like, this is where it is, this is who I am, and you don't get to decide that for me.
Nice.
Realistically, I think that I played the part. I faked it until I made it, right? In a sense that I would say that even though I felt unworthy, even though I felt like an imposter, even though, you know, most of my close circles typically are Black, right? I do have friends from everywhere, but when I go into those circles, I still kind of like feel on the outside like, oh, I have to prove myself, or I have to, you know, make sure that they know that I belong here, right? And so, so it was very much like a facade that I just chose to take on until one day I was like, no, like nobody gets to determine my Blackness, my whiteness, you know, like I am who I am, and maybe God put me on this earth to bring that unity. Maybe that's why God has allowed so many people to that are mixed to be so beautiful, so that people can be drawn to us, so that we can have conversations with people in understanding that, you know, there needs to be more unity. It's not, you know, it's not a this or that. It's not a they versus them. You know, it's really all of us in this together.
Exactly. And I agree. You definitely drew me to our friendship, you know, for sure. Because I always thought you did have that open mind. You did have that understanding where you were adaptive, and like where we came from, we worked for a software company, and that software company, there was so many Indians, so many Indians. But like nonetheless, you really got to know and understand our culture, and you opened up and you talked about it and you asked me questions, and yeah, that's what I felt, that there should be a unity. And I think we did connect on that level because we accepted everyone for who they are and every root they came from.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely feel that. So thank you.
And thank you. That was such a beautiful time, because I think I may have told you this back when we were working there, but I did have a few Indian friends in high school that invited me to like celebrations, and oh man, like Indians know how to party, you know?
I mean, within our own retreats, oh my gosh.
Yes, right? So that was so beautiful, but just to like take a deeper dive, because we were in high school, you know, so you're very, not to say you're always surface level, but I think it was definitely more surface level back then, you know, than getting to understand your culture, like when we were, you know, in the midst of working there. So that was really awesome for me, because I love different cultures and learning about different cultures and being able to like celebrate that and, you know, understand it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and same thing with me, and I think that's why part of me wanted to start this show, because I feel like everyone comes from so many different backgrounds, so many different understandings, and so many different places that everyone grows in a different way. But the key thing that you said that I really admire is that, our goal is to just have unity in the world of separation.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
And it's really hard, because like what's going on right now, you know, in political aspects and just everywhere around the world, we're just splitting apart, and we can't have that. We need to bring things together, and that's why I'm happy you're here to be able to share that.
Yes, I am too.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more. How was your college life? And like, you want to talk about it?
I made it out alive. That's what I will say.
Yeah, by all means. How was your college life?
And
and I don't know if you're okay to talk about like you know, personal as in like mother life too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, go for it.
Yeah, so college life was honestly a little bit of a blur for me. No, like,
as everyone should be enjoying.
Right?
I'm just saying.
You know, it was really about understanding and putting together everything that my parents had taught me in the 18 years that, you know, I was living under their roof, and personalizing that for myself. What worked that they taught me, what didn't work, what worked but needed some fine tuning, right? And throughout that experience, I definitely made a lot of mistakes. I, you know, live kind of like a rebel. I loved to party, and I think for in that aspect, I didn't understand that college was really preparing me for the rest of my life, right? At that time, I was very, very interested in a corporate trajectory in finance, right? And eventually, like being like a CFO type of an organization, and I really did not put my focus in college the way that I should have. I made a lot of great friendships, a lot of relationships that I still have to this day, and I'm so thankful for those people in my life, because they have really been the true teachers, right? And so college was, you know, a lot of mistakes. It was a lot of like getting tapped, like, nope, that's not the way, nope, that's not, no, you know, stay on the path, right? But I made it through, thank God. And as a result of that, my GPA was a little too low to go the route that I wanted to go. And I didn't think that they were going to be looking at GPAs during my interviews after college, right? I was like, I got a degree. That's all that they care about is the degree. Yeah, well, with financial organizations, a lot of times to get into the top organizations, they are absolutely looking at your GPA. Jesus. And and they want you to have like, you know, very solid grades. And work came very easy to me. So I would coast through a lot of my classes and just allow myself to get those B's, sometimes C's even, you know. If I was really interested in the course, I would get an A because it was my interest that drew me into that, right? But I knew that I could just kind of float by with everything else. And so float by I did.
But it's a balance, don't you think? Like,
yes,
it's a balance of like having a lifestyle,
yes,
and then also having, you know, because you're creating the social aspect of life, which is just as important as education is.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I'm talking from my perspective too, I didn't have the best GPA either. So, but I was trying to get into like mass media.
Yeah.
But they would be like, okay, you have to intern for 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah, before you actually got the job here. And I'm just like, so you're telling me you want me to work for free without any pay, full time, without getting, like, that's what I just didn't understand.
Wild. Yeah.
But was I an ethical worker? Was I a hard worker? Yes, I did all of that. You know? So that's why a part of me is like, why does your GPA matter? Right? And nowadays, I hope like corporations are looking at the experiences too.
Right.
That's the most important part. So I don't agree with the choosing situation that they had. And even now, like a part of me working with the government, I feel like a part of me, we shouldn't be taking exams because it's like your exam level.
Right.
You know, versus your experience. But like, you know, in your area, you knew exactly what you were doing. You're like, if you throw me an Excel sheet, I can do it.
Right.
You know, I can budget everything. I can finance everything.
Yeah.
But you're telling me because I got a B.
Right.
And I enjoyed my life, and on top of that, like I, you know, finished school.
It was very
I'm just
interesting.
saying, I just don't understand that. I don't. Like, so for me, I really wished you got a job in that area because you would have proved them. Because you were wonders freaking at work. Like, you were amazing. You were on top of it, and I'm pretty sure you had hard areas too that you were dealing with for our sales team.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that you strive and you still did amazing things and still a part
in Spanish, by the way.
In Spanish. Oh my gosh,
and
yes, I remember.
Actually bilingual.
No, but you did amazing with that too. When I heard her on the phone and I was like, is she speaking in Spanish? Like, I would look back and I'd be like, damn, girl. And she even sold those people too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like.
Yeah, that was such an awesome time, you know, because I like, just like cultures, I love language so much. Like I always say, you know, I love Marvel. Marvel is like my son and I's favorite, you know, stuff to geek out on. And my superpower would absolutely being able to understand and speak every language.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I know. That is actually a really good superpower. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, because it helps unify.
Yes, exactly. All unified in here too.
Right?
No, but like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like the corporate world, you know, it could be a sector, but then just think of how strict they would also be with us,
Exactly.
right? So the balance that you had in your college life and all that, would we get that if we did go into a corporate world?
Right.
You know, we wouldn't be doing extracurricular activities like this. I'm just saying, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that for me, ultimately, you know, and that, you know, where we were working at, as well as my finance career that I had done finance for about 10 years prior to the software job. And then after the software job, I went back to finance, and I only lasted like a year because I was like, this isn't for me. Where I went back to was actually a friend's brokerage, and he was very ethical. I had left for ethical reasons. And when I went back, there was no issue of ethicality or, you know, wrongdoing. However, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. You know, at that point, I really started to get really like, think really intrinsically about what I wanted my mark to be on the world, right? Like, I don't perceive myself to be like Martin Luther King or Che Guevara or, you know, some amazing person that's going to be known throughout history. But I do think that it's important to leave some type of legacy, to leave some type of mark on the world, you know, and like selling loans and winning over deals was just not going to be it for me, you know. So I like going to work every day felt like a chore. It was very hard, you know. I was just like, here we go again, you know. I was living for the weekend, and I actually talked myself into getting fired from that last job.
What?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I was
She's like the rebellious part of it comes out from
literally, like always a rebel. But I was talking to my best friend who happened to be the sales manager. They were going to be letting go of a friend of mine who they hired on, who I actually got a job at our software company, and she did really bad there. So I told them not to hire her. But it was a boys' club. She was a pretty girl. So they were like, let's go for it. We'll teach her everything she needs to know and see how it works out. Well, it didn't work out. And so when they were going to fire her, they pulled me in to let me know and kind of get my thoughts. And I was like, I don't care what you guys do with her. I told you not to hire her. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I'm getting frustrated being here and working for somebody else's dream when I could be supporting my own and figuring my own thing out.
Yeah.
And the owner happened to be in the room right over and heard everything I said.
Oh.
And he
You
came
probably
in.
knew, huh?
I did not.
Oh.
I did not know he was in there.
Shoot. So it happened sooner than later.
Yeah, and I don't think he was even in there trying to hear what I had to say. I think that was his brother's office, and he just happened to be in there with him, but the walls were paper thin, right? And so he heard everything I said, and he came into the office after I left, and he was like, let her go.
Oh my God.
And he was like, what? He's like, yeah, let her go. That way, if she needs to come back, she hasn't burnt any bridges and she can come back. And of course, emotional female, I was like, I would never come back to a place that let me go for no reason, right?
Yeah.
And I've since made peace with that and really looked at that as like a blessing because I was making pretty good money. I don't know that I would have had the faith to step out and go on my own and start all the way over, right? But it was really a combination. It was like a perfect storm because it was getting fired at the beginning of February, and I had enough money, you know, to last me at least like a month. And then the shutdown happened, right? And I was like, okay. And, you know, my mom and a couple friends were like, get the unemployment. And I was like, I'm not getting their unemployment. I don't need their unemployment. I'm going to figure it out. And,
Wow.
That rebel again.
Yeah, I was like, no, but like unemployment was really important at that time.
Right, it was, and my mom was like, please get the unemployment.
Yeah.
So after like 4 months, I finally applied.
Okay.
And, but within a couple weeks of getting let go, I had a friend who knew that I had really good massage hands, because I
Yes.
don't know if you remember, right? I used to always give
She
shoulder rubs
definitely
in the
did.
office.
She did some really amazing things to my hands. I gave it back to you. I cracked her back a few times.
Right?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So because of that, he was like, I need a massage. And I was like, you are not in your right mind. Like, I am not about to give you a full body massage. Like, a shoulder rub in the office is one thing.
Yeah.
But absolutely not, and he just kept hounding me for a couple weeks. And, the shutdown happened, and then I took pity on him, and I'm like, okay, I guess, like, I'll give you a massage.
Right.
And that massage changed my life. It was the first time that outside of just a shoulder rub, I was able to heal somebody's whole body and, like, get the healing myself as well, right? And so it felt so good that I was like, oh my God, I could do this.
Yeah.
I could really do this, you know? And then a couple friends later, I had a friend that is a assistant coach in the NBA, and he started sending me a lot of support staff, some rookie clients.
Wow.
And, he's like, you can really build your business off of this. And I'm like, okay, like, these people believe in me. I should probably go get licensed before something happens.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I went back to school for massage. And when I went back to school, this time, of course, being a little older, I was able to fully like immerse myself in the learning, got straight A's, like over a 4.0.
There you go.
And it was the first time that I realized this is what's missing from my life. I love being a student. I love constantly learning about things.
Right.
And being able to heal somebody's body, like doing this is a huge passion for me. And I'm just thankful that I'm able to make a good living with it as well, so.
Yeah, no, and I feel like definitely in the silence of all the transitions that happen, we'll fall, and that's fine,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We fall. But then we realize within that silence, within that time frame, it's like, what do we do next?
Yeah.
It comes to us.
Yeah,
And exactly what we want.
Absolutely.
And that's what I feel like you found, you
Yeah.
know? Same thing with me. Like, I wouldn't have been able to start this podcast if it wasn't silence. And for me, there was a lot of silence going on. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not doing anything. So for me, I was like, what's next? What's next in my chapter?
Yeah.
And just like you felt the unity to giving back, to really
Yes.
feeling that's exactly how I felt here too, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so interesting that you were able to come here. So tell me, what is it exactly that you do? And I need to go to her too, by the way. Like, she gave me a sneak peek of what she does when I was working with her. And just to kind of brief you in, like, I had like carpal tunnel or something. I forgot what it was, but I had a carpal tunnel. And she's like, oh, let me help you. And when she just touched my hand, I was like, okay, that's one point where I felt the connection.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, believe it or not, it's going to be gone tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not going to be gone, right? The next day, I swear to God, it was gone. And I was just like, it's her love, it's her feel, it's her energy. And then maybe it was just you in general, but you do have that touch.
Thank you.
Tell me, what is it exactly that you do now?
Yeah, so I have my own massage, post-op care, and body sculpting practice in Cerritos, California. And the thing that I do most often is lymphatic massage, not just with people that have had surgery, but largely with people that have had surgery, as it really helps them to heal a whole lot faster. And then a lot of people just get completely addicted to the feel of it. It's very rebalancing for your body. The lymphatic system works hand in hand with your cardiovascular and your immune system to really supply the energy and immunity that your body needs, right? So it really, and one of my friends actually just kind of related that she thinks that the meridians that they use in a lot of Eastern medicine is very indicative of the lymphatic system. So she's like, maybe the meridians are actually what we call the lymphatic system. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to search, research that a little bit, because it definitely, there's a lot of commonality with that. So I help people heal, whether it be, I have a lot of clients that come for cancer, for post-operation, whether it be knee replacements, hip replacements, complications after surgery. Just recently had a gentleman that had an appendectomy and had a lot of complications that resulted in 30-pound weight gain once he got out of the hospital. And a lot of that is fluid retention, right? So our lymphatic system, if you've ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps Score, it's a great book. And it just goes over how, the body holds on to a lot of memories, emotions, things that we deal with. It holds that in the muscles. It holds that in your interstitial fluid, which is kind of like the sea of the body, right? And so a lot of times we are holding on to these emotions, and these emotions are what are making us sick.
Oh, wow.
And so the lymphatic system and, doing the lymphatic massage really helps all of that to process out.
Wow, so you're a therapist
Yeah,
and you're also a body lymph drainer.
Yes,
That's amazing.
very much, yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, thankfully people feel very safe in my environment.
Yeah.
Because I've had people laugh, cry, do all kind of things on the table, and they're like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. Like, this is what this is for,
I definitely need to
Release
come
it.
to you.
Yes.
I have some knee pains that I'm probably holding,
Right? Yes.
so because there's parts, I think, of our bodies that we get inflammation in different areas, right?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing this? But you're right, like mentally, we have a lot of stress that we built into our body. And that's why when it comes to coming to you and probably also going to therapy or whatever the case is, it kind of helps together.
Exactly.
And so I feel like even just coming to you're like 2 in 1. You're like a therapist and you're like a trainer. So
a lot of people tell me a lot of things while they're on the table, so I'm like, don't worry, you're covered by HIPAA. You're safe with me. But it's very rewarding work, and I shied away from it knowing that I had the hands to do it. I shied away thinking I'm not going to like it, I'm going to end up getting tired, but it's truly something that I'm so passionate about. I can put 18 hours a day in and keep coming day after day after day and just feel it. I mean, it's a very fulfilling work, so I'm almost making as much as I was, back when I was in finance, but moreover than that, like I live a very comfortable life, and I'm also very fulfilled. So that's like an amazing feeling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely going to send people to you. So you guys, if you guys need some massages or anything, definitely go to Des.
Yes.
But for any last comments, do you have anything that you wanted to share that you're like, I've been wanting to tell people this from your side, and like just kind of having this open platform to do that?
I think one of the main themes that has been on my mind lately is, when you get on an airplane and they're going through the whole safety speech, and they always tell you, if you're traveling with little ones, make sure that you put your face mask on first, right? And that's kind of like where I'm at with this season of life, is put your face mask on first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not able to take care of other people, right? So whatever it is that you need, and this isn't an opportunity to neglect other people or to just disregard, but moreover, if you're not in the right place, then you can't support and help and do for the people in your circle that you love so much. So just make sure that you're always, putting yourself first, in a sense of, if I put myself first, then I have more capacity to help and to heal the people around me.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. I'm definitely going to learn from you for sure on that as well. Like, take care of my body, go to her sessions.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Des, for being
welcome.
here. This
It's
has
been
been an
pleasure.
amazing interview. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys all subscribe to my channel. Definitely ping me on this YouTube channel. And then at the same time, subscribe to my Instagram. And lastly, add her too. I'll put it down here too.
Yes.
So thank you. Yes. Bye. Thanks. Bye.